All right. This is a test class. I'm so excited to be with you. My name is Lindsay, here in the Shalati Studios. We're going to start by finding a comfortable seat. If you have a blanket or bolster or yoga block, you can grab that to sit on and find a comfortable seat. We are going to get centered today and start with some alternate nostril breathing. It sounds kind of weird, but it is super relaxing. If you've never done this before, you do have to use a little bit of brain power, and then once you get used to the pattern, it flows pretty easily. So on our comfortable seat, we're gonna get set first. We want to have our back and spine straight, nice and tall. And you can have your hands resting on your knees, your thighs. You can place both hands over your heart, one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, whatever feels good for you as we settle in here. And then you're going to choose whichever hand you want to use. Today I'm going to use my left hand, and you're going to use your thumb and middle finger or thumb or index finger, whichever finger feels good. We're going to be alternating pinching our nostrils, okay? So I'm going to start by plugging my left nostril, and I'm going to inhale through my right. At the top of that breath, I'm going to plug my right nostril and exhale through my left nostril. Inhale through the left nostril. Top of the breath, plug the left, open the right, exhale through the right nostril. Inhale right. Top of the breath, plug the right, open the left, exhale left. Inhale left. Top of your breath, plug the left, open the right, exhale right. Inhale right. Plug the right, exhale left. Inhale left. Plug the left, exhale right. Continue a few more rounds on your own. As you complete that last round, release your hand. Lengthen through your spine, reaching the top of your head to the ceiling. We'll take 3 breaths together. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Feel the ease of your breath inhaling through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. And one more. Inhale through your nose. And exhale through your mouth. On your next inhale, reach both arms up high overhead. Exhale, left hand to the floor. Right hand reaches over. Take a breath in here. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, right arm down, left arm reaches over. Inhale here. Exhale. Inhale to center. Exhale, left arm down, right arm over. You want to be keeping your shoulders facing towards me, facing forward, square to the front of your body. Inhale, come up. Exhale, release, right arm down, left arm over. Keep those shoulders square in line with your hips. And inhale, arms up. Exhale to the side. We're going to, if you're sitting on anything, we're going to remove whatever you're sitting on. We're going to come to all fours. We're going to find a tabletop position. In tabletop, we want our shoulders over our wrists and our hips over our knees. Our hands are under our shoulders and our knees are under our hips. From here, the tops of your feet rest on the floor. You want to have your shoulder blades. Nope. You want to be pushing your body away from the floor and gently press your feet into the floor. So we're active here in our first tabletop position. You should feel your belly turned on, your arms turned on as you're pushing yourself away from the floor. And as you gently press into the floor, you should feel some tension and activation in your legs. All right. From here, we're going to go into some cats and cows. And so on your next inhale, you're going to tilt your pelvis towards the floor, drop your belly. Inhale, reach your head high. Exhale, round your back to cat. Spread those shoulder blades nice and wide. Inhale, drop the belly. Lift your head tall. Exhale to cat, rounding your shoulder blades. Squeezing that belly, pressing into the floor. Inhale, lower to cow. Those shoulder blades come in towards one another. Exhale, cat. Squeezing in those abdominals. Inhale, a few more rounds on your own through cat and cow. Feeling that articulation between each vertebrae in your spine. Feeling your shoulder blades gliding around your ribs as they come together in cow and as they reach apart in cat. This is one of my favorite movements. And I know when I haven't done it for a while because of how stiff I become. Wherever you are, finish your last cat and come back to neutral tabletop. We're going to take a break, sit back on our heels. You can roll your wrists out. Sometimes if we haven't been practicing for a while, that can be a little bothersome on our wrists. And so we want to make sure that we're taking care of them. Come on back into tabletop position. And from here, we're going to do a little spinal strengthening in a position called spinal balance. And so we're going to start by lifting our left leg, extending back on our toes. Okay, we want a nice extended leg. Feel how that pressure changes. You have to activate your core muscles a little bit differently. And now go ahead and lift that left leg about parallel to the ground if you're able. Wherever you can lift is fine. You'll find this a little bit of a balance challenge as you lose one of our 4 bases on the ground. And if you want another challenge, you may lift your right arm off the ground and reach it forward. In spinal balance, we are here building strength through our entire core and the backside of our body. Keeping that belly tight in that strong foundational tabletop position. And exhale, Bring everything back down. Come on onto your heels. I forgot that I had socks on, and I'm going to take those off in preparation for some of our standing poses that we'll be doing shortly. All right, next we're going to head on back to tabletop and do the other side. So find that strong tabletop position, shoulders over wrist, hips over knees, and reach that right leg back. Give it a little stretch first. Maybe you rock a little, and then keeping your hips level, lift your right foot off the floor a little or up to parallel or somewhere in between. You want to keep your toes facing down towards the ground. Feel that balance challenge and that core activation. You can stay here, or if you'd like to go into a full spinal balance, you may reach your left arm, forward and have your bicep by your ear, or your upper arm by your ear. Find that strong core, that foundational tabletop. I have to work for it too. And release. Coming back down. We'll open our knees wide and bring our big toes to touch, and then sit our hips back for child's pose. You can walk your arms forward and gently rest your forehead on the ground. We'll take about 3 breaths here, feeling that nice hip opening, stretch. Focus on that breathing in and out through your nose if possible. When you're ready, press on back up to tabletop. So find that good balance again. We're going to tuck our toes under, and maybe you walk your hands just a little bit forward. We're going to lift our hips up and back for our first downward facing dog. You can have your knees bent a lot or a little. We are focusing first on the length in our spine. And so that is the action that we're caring most about right now, is that we have a nice long spine, that it is straight, that we are reaching through the top of our head and the tail of our spine in one long line. You might find some movement here feels good for you. That might look like pedaling one foot and then the other as we have our feet hip width apart. If we look at our feet, our heels should disappear behind our feet so we don't see them. And as we press through the floor, like we did in tabletop position through downward facing dog, we're actively pressing away. And we have our biceps rotating by our ears. Familiar. All right. On your next inhale, lift your right leg high if you'd like. And exhale, step your foot forward between your hands. And we find ourselves here in a low lunge position. Drop that right knee down to the ground and come up to a tall low lunge. I don't know what I want to call this. We're coming up to lunge position here. We're going to take some movement and open up our hips a little bit more. And so as we reach our arms up to the sky, we find ourselves in Anjaneyasana. That is one of my favorite yoga asanas to say. I don't know why. Here in Anjaneyasana, what we're looking for is bringing our left hip back and our right hip forward. I just said that in reverse for you. Our left hip forward and our right hip back, keeping our hips square, facing forward in front of us. You can have your toes tucked or flat to the floor. And if we think about engaging or squeezing our left glute just a little bit, we can feel that increased stretch through the front of our hip without having to lunge super far forward. Sometimes that doesn't feel good. Breathe here. And on your next exhale, bring your hands down to the floor and rock your hips back. So here we are in half splits or Ardha Hanumanasana. We have the same ideas running through that we want to level and square off our hips. So in this instance, we want our right hip back and our left hip forward. And we're just finding a stretch through the whole backside of our legs. If it is better and more accessible for you to be using blocks, blocks are absolutely wonderful for this. If you have them, use them. If you don't, you can use a sturdy book or have a chair by you to help hold on to, and that's great. We'll come back forward to Anjaneyasana, feeling that lunge and stretch and opening in our hip, front side of our hip, and exhale back to half splits. And at your own pace, you can rock through these a few times, getting some of that movement and stretch in. Yeah. And as you come forward into your Anjaneyasana low lunge, bring those hands down to the ground and tuck your toes back under. So we find ourselves in our little runner's lunge. Plant your hands on the ground and step your right foot back to meet your left. And we find ourselves in plank position. From here, you might have your knees on the ground. You might be building strength by alternating knees down. From here, we're going to lower all the way down to the ground, keeping our hands on the ground, tops of the feet down. And we're going to inhale, lifting our chest up off the ground. Our shoulders stay back and away from our ears, and our elbows reach towards touching one another. Using the strength in our spine, pressing through the tops of our feet, activating the entire backside of the body. Lower down, tuck your toes, pressing up through tabletop or plank, and then pressing back to downward facing dog. So again, pressing through our arms and hands away from the floor. Knees can be bent a lot or a little. A long line through our spine from the top of our head to our tail. And on your next inhale, lift your left leg high. And exhale, stepping it forward between our hands. We find ourselves in our low lunge position. Excellent. Drop that right knee down to the ground. And go ahead and use your hands and come up to our tall Anjaneyasana. You're doing great. All right. You can keep your toe tucked or have that right foot flat to the ground. We're reaching for a nice, tall, long spine. We're being active in our legs, squeezing the action, or the intention is squeezing our inner thighs together, even though they're not. And activating our right glute to increase that stretch through the front side of our right hip. This should feel pretty nice. If you need to have hands down on a block for balance, whatever is going to work for you as you engage in this position. When you're ready, bring your hands down to the ground and shift your hips back. For half splits, Ardha Hanumanasana. Remember, we want to try to level and square off our hips. So we're going to have the action of bringing our left hip back and our right hip forward. Blocks are wonderful here and our friend as we open the backside of our left leg and find some of that balance. You can find a little bit of movement. Find anything that might feel good for you. It just stretches our hamstrings a little bit differently if you have your toes pointed or flexed. So whatever feels great for you is awesome. And we'll come on back forward to our grounded low lunge, Anjaneyasana. Activate those legs. Reach those arms up if you're able, shoulders away from your ears. And bring your hands on down to the ground and shift back to half splits. And now go ahead and move at your own pace. Inhaling to Anjaneyasana. Exhale to low lunge or half splits. Inhaling and exhaling. One more. Inhale and exhale. On your next inhale, bring your hands to the ground, tuck your right toes, bring that right knee up off the ground, step your right foot back to meet your left foot back to meet your right, and we find ourselves in plank position. So we're going to go through a modified vinyasa. Well, vinyasa is just what they call it. Any way you do it is a vinyasa. You can have your knees down on the ground and exhale, lowering all the way down to the ground. Tops of the feet flat on the floor. Inhale, lifting up to cobra, shoulders down and away, elbows reaching towards one another. Exhale, lower. Inhale, tuck the toes and press up through tabletop or plank. And exhale, downward facing dog. Nice work. Get a little movement there. Maybe you get some twisting. And when you're ready, we're going to walk our feet to the front of our mat. You can keep them about hip width is fine. And we're going to hang here in our forward fold position. Oops. This is a little tricky when I'm fat and my band doesn't want to stay flat. Good times. Okay. Bend your knees a lot. Bring your chest to your knees. Hang your head heavy. Let that spine expand through your backside, gently rounding. You might grab opposite hand to opposite elbow. You might rock gently side to side. It might feel good just to hang here. And go ahead and reach your hands to the ground. And roll yourself slowly up to a stand. And roll your shoulders. Feels good for me. I'm going to turn and face you here. We're going to find ourselves in mountain pose. You can do this with feet together or with feet under your hips. Either is okay. We have our palms facing forward, shoulders down away from our ears. Our feet are active, finding the triangular base of each of our feet through our heel, our big toe, and our pinky toes. The balls of our toes. You're going to be active through your legs. They're engaged. You don't have to squeeze or flex them, but they're active. You feel your muscles are on. You want to feel that activation through your core and spine and your arms as well. Spreading our fingertips wide helps that activation. And we have our head reaching up to the sky. Nice. All right, we're going to do some sun salutations. And so I'm going to turn back to the top of my mat. We're going to inhale, reaching our arms high to the sky. Exhale, hands come out to the side like an airplane. as you fold forward, bending your knees however you need to. Come to your forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. We're going to start with our legs with a slight bend. Bring your hands up towards your thighs. This is our halfway lift. We are engaged through our belly and spine. Shoulders are back away from our ears. And we are using the strength in our spine and particularly our quads and hamstrings to hold us here. And exhale, forward fold, releasing. Plant your hands, step your feet back to plank. We've been here before. You might do plank from your knees. Exhale, lower all the way down to the floor. Inhale, lifting your chest to cobra. Exhale, lower. Tuck those toes. Inhale through tabletop or plank. Press back to downward facing dog. Another modification for downward facing dog is just to be in tabletop, or you might have down dog look like this from your knees. It's totally cool, whichever way you do it. And on your next inhale, step or walk your feet to the front of your mat. Exhale, fold forward, stretching those hamstrings. Inhaling, reverse swan dive all the way up to tall mountain. Exhale, hands to heart. We're going to do that 2 more times and maybe just a little bit faster. Inhaling, reaching your arms high to the sky, tall mountain. Exhale, forward fold with your arms out to the side or through heart center. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to thighs, spine parallel to the ground. Exhale, forward fold, planting your hands, stepping yourself back to plank or tabletop, lowering all the way down to the ground. Inhaling to cobra, using the strength in your back, tops of the feet engaged to the floor. Exhale, lower. Tuck those toes. Press up through tabletop or plank. And exhale, downward facing dog. Take a breath in and out. Step or walk your feet to the front of your mat. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise high, tall mountain. Arms reaching, and exhale, hands to your heart. One more. Inhale, reaching the arms high. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. We're working on our version together today of hands on the thighs, shoulders away from the ears, chest and spine parallel to the floor. Hold and exhale, fold. Plant your hands, step your feet back to tabletop or a modified plank. Exhale, lower down all the way to the ground. Inhale to cobra. Exhale, lower, tucking the toes. Inhaling through tabletop or plank. And exhale, downward facing dog. Take a breath in and out. Step or walk your feet to the front of your mat. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise high, tall mountain. Exhale, hands to your heart. All right, we're going to move into a few standing series now. And so to do that, we're going to make our way back to downward dog because that's my personal favorite to get into these. So go ahead and inhale, reaching your hands high. Exhale, forward fold, reaching your hands to the ground. And we're just going to step back to down dog. Or maybe for you, down dog is more of a tabletop position. Totes cool. All right. So wherever you are, if it is, what is that dirt on my mat? Weird. feels good for you, we're going to inhale, lift the right leg high, keeping our hips level. Exhale, bringing your knee close to your chest and to your nose. And then step that right foot forward. We're going to inhale, coming up to high lunge. We've been in a similar position on the floor. This time we're standing. We want to keep our hips in a neutral position. What I mean by neutral is that they're not tilted forward towards the floor and they're not super tucked under like I'm reaching back. We want to find neutral hips. That might mean we bend our back left leg for now. Totally fine. Reaching your arms, you can have them on your hips or overhead. If you're reaching your arms overhead in our high lunge position, relax those shoulders away from your ears. Nice. And from here, we're going to open to warrior two. So I'm going to bring my right arm forward, my left arm back, and my right toe, my right foot pivots from being heel up to heel down. And that leaves me in more of a tightrope stance with my feet, a little bit of heel to arch alignment. If arms extended doesn't feel amazing to you, you can keep your hands on your hips. We're going to be here for a minute. I want to check our alignment in our front leg first. So in our right leg, as you look down, your knee should be in line with your toes. Your knee, if you look down, so in line means here's my foot, here's my knee, they're in line. If I look down and my knee is off to one side or the other, that's not great. We want our knees and toes to be in one single file, kind of stacked position as we look forward, okay? So we're active in our right leg and we're active in our left leg as we're pressing through the outer edge of our toes. And we have our, is that rotating out? Rotating in. I gotta double check which way that leg rotates as we press. But we have active legs, we have active arms. We also want a vertical spine. So we don't want to be reaching forward or leaning back here. We want to have that stacked vertical spine all the way up. We've been here for a hot minute. So let's inhale, bring our hands up overhead, straighten that right leg. Exhale to warrior two. Find that center alignment. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, bend the front leg. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, warrior two. One more. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, warrior two. We're going to inhale, tilting back, reaching our left hand down our left leg and our right arm up towards the sky. We're getting a side stretch through the right side of our body as we are tilting back to reverse warrior. We're going to inhale, bringing our hands all the way down to the ground in our low runner's lunge. Planting your hands, step your right foot back to meet your left. Inhale here in plank. Exhale all the way down to the ground. Inhale to cobra. Exhale to the ground. Tuck those toes. Inhale through plank or tabletop. And exhale, downward facing dog. Nice job, guys. We're going to do that on the other side. Inhaling, reaching the left leg high. Exhale, trying to bring that thigh to your chest and knee to your nose. Step that left leg through to our low lunge. Inhale, coming up to high lunge. Here we are. Just like on the other side, similar position to Anjaneyasana, only now we're on all of our feet. We want to keep our hips square to the front. So reaching our right hip forward, left hip back, nice and even. If you have your arms high, you are keeping your shoulders away from your ears, finding your breath, finding that neutral pelvis, strong spine. You might need to bend that back knee a little to find your neutral spine. That is a-okay. We're going to take another couple breaths here as we sit into our high lunge. And we're going to exhale to warrior two. So remember to do that from high lunge. We open our arms, left arm forward, right arm back, and watch my toe. My right toes pivot to bring my heel down towards the center of my mat. And then if we check our feet, they're in kind of a tightrope alignment where my left heel, if I were to draw a straight line through my mat, is intersecting with my right arch. So here we are, warrior two. Arms reaching forward and back, parallel to the floor. Let's check that left knee alignment. Remember, we want to have our knees tracking straight over our toes, not inside or outside of our toes. Might even have your feet disappearing. We're active in our back leg and glute and pressing through the pinky edge toe of our right foot. Holding here, finding that neutral spine alignment from our pelvis, through our heart, through our head. Exhale here. Nice. On your next inhale, come on up, hands overhead, straighten that left knee. Exhale, warrior two. Check that alignment. Keep active in that back leg. Inhale, come up, hands touch overhead. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bend into warrior two in that front leg. Inhale, arms up. Exhale to warrior two. Keep those legs active. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, warrior two. From here, we're going to inhale to reverse warrior, tilting and reaching my left arm up and right arm down my right leg. Gaze can be neutral or maybe lifted up towards the sky. And exhale, cartwheeling our arms down to the ground, stepping our right foot back, left foot to meet our right. Inhale here in plank and exhale, lower all the way down. Inhale to cobra, using that strength in our back and spine, a nice long neck. Exhale, lower, tuck those toes. Inhale, come on up to plank and press back to downward facing dog. Nice job. Come on down and find a seat. We're going to do just a little bit of core work today. I think it's just good, important strength to be able to have through our core and our spine to help with posture, to help with a strong back. I just personally love it. So let's find ourselves, get those hip bones on the floor, scoot your tush around till you feel nice and centered. We're going to work on some boat pose and some modified boat poses. So our first stop in boat is going to be here. We're going to be sitting with our knees up, feet can be together, knees touching, arms reaching out. What we're working on here is that tight core. So you are sucking that belly button into your spine, activating your core muscles, and feeling that nice long spine. We want to keep this tall, strong spine as we move forward to other variations, okay? So this might feel super easy, and if it does, good job. if this feels like, oh, hey, I'm turning on some muscles I haven't used in a long time, join the club. I've been super inactive. Okay, I don't need to go down that rabbit hole. So here we are. If you're ready to take this up another level, you can try lifting one leg up off the floor and seeing how that changes. How does that change the activation in your core? Tap it down, try the other side. What happens? How does that feel? Are you keeping your spine nice and straight and long through one line, as we've practiced, one line through the top of our head and our tailbone, and switch. If you think, oh yeah, Lindsay, I got this. I can keep my nice tall spine and lift both feet up off the ground. Props to you. All right, good job. It's harder when we take our legs out, our feet out away from us. Okay, so if keeping that nice long spine here with feet more down but off the ground is where you're at, that's awesome. That's where I'm at today. If you would like to try this supported, keeping that long spine with hands behind your knees, that's cool too. You can even practice from here in that supported position, lifting and straightening one leg at a time. But that spinal position is what is most important for us here. And we'll come back down, both feet on the ground, and slowly roll down all the way to the ground. Yeah. Okay. Next, we're gonna do some twisting core. We're gonna do some of our stretches here intermixed with some core. Okay. So go ahead and bring your feet in close to your bum, to your hips. And when you're ready, bring those knees up into a 90-degree position. So we have our hips and knees at 90 degrees. Sometimes if you've done Pilates, this is a tabletop position for your legs. A little confusing because we also have tabletop on the ground in yoga. That's fine. From here, I'm going to bring my arms out to a capital T position. So they are nice and wide out from either side for me. What I'm going to do is gently exhale slowly and twist my knees all the way down to the right and pause. They're rested on the floor. This is a stretch. Feels kind of good. Feels really good. Who am I kidding? Okay, inhale. Try to bring those knees back to center together. That is some strong oblique work. Exhale the full length of your movement, dropping your knees down to the left. Pause. Take a breath here. Feel that stretch. Inhale, bring your knees back towards center. Exhale, all slowly all the way as your knees touch the ground. Take a breath here. On your next inhale, slowly bring your knees back towards center. Do you notice I sing when it's a little bit harder? Good, me too. All right, exhale. Slowly lower knees down to the left. Pause on the ground. Inhale here. And exhale. Inhale, bring your knees back towards center. Now I'm going to give you a little bit of time to decide. Are you going to stay at that pace? Inhale, exhale, pause at the bottom. Or you can try hovering as you go down, bringing your knees through, exhaling as you drop your knees to one side, inhale through center. So you're taking out that pause and stretch at the bottom. Or you continue to rotate and enjoy that stretch as you pause on the bottom. If you take the stretch out, your knees are just hovering, they don't touch the ground. Nice, strong core work. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Wherever you are, find yourself back in center. Give your knees a little squeeze in. Pat yourself on the shoulders. Good job. We did some back strengthening at the beginning of class, so we're not going to do that now. We're going to do some more stretching. So go ahead and extend your left leg long on your mat, keeping the right leg in towards your chest. What you want to think about with your left leg as we are in this position is keeping your knees and toes engaged. So your quads are engaged, toes and knees and kneecap are pointing up towards the sky. Okay. That's how we want our left leg to stay this whole time. So we're going to have our right hand on our knee and our left hand towards our ankle. And we're going to pull our knee into our chest and then try to bring it in and up towards your armpit. So our knee is stretching off to the side of our body. All right, that feels nice. And then bring your knee back towards center and extend that right leg nice and high. You're gonna walk your hands up as far up your right leg as you can. You might have your knee bent a lot, and that's okay. If your knee's bent, we wanna continue to grab and hold on below our knee. If you're able to straighten your leg more and you can reach your hands up past your knee, that's great. Either place is wonderful. Wherever you can feel that edge of your stretch where it doesn't hurt, but it's stretching. Go ahead and flex and point your toe. Don't forget that left leg on the ground is engaged. Knees and toes pointed up towards the sky. And roll a couple circles in one direction with your right ankle and then in the other. Back in the heyday of One Direction, I was teaching high school and I had a freshman biology class, and anytime I would say One Direction as I was actually giving directions, they would just scream, "You said One Direction," because the band was super popular at the time. Anyway, okay, bring that knee in towards your chest one more time. And now we're gonna do a different twist. So we're keeping our left leg straight. We're gonna bring our right leg across our body. Move that back just a little. You can look back towards your right hand. That's the best place to be looking. You can have your left arm in that capital T, or bring it onto your right leg as it has crossed over your body. And we're going to take a couple breaths here. As you exhale, think about releasing that tension in your spine, in your hips, wherever you might feel that tension. With every exhale, relax and release a little bit more. One more breath. And go ahead and come on back towards center. We're going to switch legs. So extend your right leg out nice and long. Right leg is active and engaged. Muscles are turned on. Knees and toes are pointing up towards the ceiling. Go ahead and bring your left hand towards your knee, right hand towards your ankle. And squeeze your leg in towards your chest. Again, that right leg is active. Don't forget about it. It's easy to do. And now go ahead and let your leg slide off to the side and try to bring your knee up towards your armpit. Try to keep those shoulders relaxed and away from your ears. You might feel this stretch through your inner thigh, through that groin area. You might not feel much at all. You might feel the stretch on your right hip, the front of your right hip, or outer thigh. You could feel it in a lot of places, but we're staying active and pulling that knee up towards our left armpit. Go ahead and bring that knee back towards center and extend the leg straight up to the sky. If your straight up is out here, totally cool. You can work on getting that hamstring stretch from here. If you have your knee bent, that is also awesome. You can have your hands behind your knees here. Knee, don't forget to have that right leg, knee and toes pointed up to the ceiling. Mine went off to the side. If you can straighten your leg all the way and maybe bring it a little bit closer, you're going to find that edge of your stretch where it is a little tight but not painful. My leg is shaking because I have not done anything for so long. New Year's resolutions, everyone. More active. Look at that shake. That's crazy. All right. We're going to point and flex our toe wherever your straight leg may be. Don't forget about that active right leg. And when you're ready, circle your ankle and foot in one direction, just like the band, and then the other. Nice. All right. And bring that knee back in towards your chest. And are you ready for the best stretch ever? I am. Bring your left arm out to capital T. You can have your right hand on your left knee and twist that left leg across your body. Look towards your left hand. Oh, if you're super tight like me, this is feeling a little uncomfortable. And as I say to you, I have to say to myself, don't forget to relax and release as you exhale. Inhale, exhale, release that tension. Release the tightness. Let your body feel like it's melting a little bit more into the ground. And when you're ready, come on back towards center. Find yourself level on the ground. We're going to go into Shavasana or constructive rest. Sometimes Shavasana, having our legs straight out on the ground, doesn't feel great on our low back, and that's totally cool. Don't have to be there if it doesn't feel good. So constructive rest, you can bring your feet out to about mat width apart, and then you're going to let your knees gently come in and touch each other. They're going to rest on each other. And you can have your arms out to your side, palms up, like they would be in Shavasana. Or you can bring one hand to your heart and one hand to your chest. As we find this last resting pose of our time together today. Thank yourself for being here. Thank yourself for the work you did. And let your thoughts flee from your mind. Focus on your breathing. All right, when you're ready, you may begin to bring movement back into your body. Maybe you think about wiggling your toes, wiggling your fingers. Maybe you roll your wrists, stretch the arms high. Maybe you think about stretching the legs nice and long because we won't be here for long. And when you're ready, roll to your side. Cradle your head in your arms. Bring your knees in to a almost fetal position here. They don't have to be super tight. But as we're here and we're finishing up our practice today, recognize the work you did, the time you gave yourself to de-stress, to show some self-love and self-care. And when you're ready, you can push yourself up to a seated position. And we will end together with one deep breath, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. You may bring your hands to your heart, and I say thank you and namaste. The light in me honors the light in you.